You have changed so many things for me. Your love and your patience have been like healing for me in ways I never thought that I would like be healed.
It took us so long to get to a point where we feel so free in our relationship and we feel so good just on cloud nine with one another, you know?
What's up, y'all, and welcome to the Hanging Out Forever podcast. My name is Asia Corinne, your host, and I'm here with my boyfriend of almost 8 years and co-host, Grant. We started this podcast to give you guys some relationship advice because our journey hasn't always been easy, and we're hoping that our journey can help you with your relationship journey.
Whether you're single, looking for love, or you're in a relationship, you know, we think that we can give you some pretty good advice, you know, just basically everything that we've gone through together. That's kind of what we like to be transparent about.
Yeah, so here we're all besties, and besties keep it real. No frou-frou shit on this podcast. But let's go ahead and get into the topic of the day, which is talking about our comment section.
Yeah, so we've done a little deep dive in some of the more interesting comments.
Too deep of a dive, some would say.
Yeah, Asia likes to dive pretty deep into the comments.
I know. I get so wrapped and I can't help myself.
She's like,
I'm not going to look at the comments.
But
and then
it's funny because her thing is like, she just wants people to understand. Asia's thing is she wants people to just understand where she's coming from. And when she feels like people don't fully understand her, she needs to explain it to you until you understand. So, but what she doesn't get is that these people, a lot of them are idiots, but also some of them are just not getting the context of our relationship. And, and they're also putting their own personal experiences into what you are saying or into what I'm saying. So they're kind of taking it with that viewpoint, you know? So yeah. It is what it is. They're not going to get the full context of our relationship in a 20-second clip. That's just impossible for somebody to do.
Yeah, seriously. So, and it's not like one of those videos where you see the groom saying rude shit to the bride at the altar. You're saying sweet things to me and I'm saying sweet things to you, and yet people have something negative to say about that.
Yeah, I don't get where they're coming from. I think I think the majority of the people who have something negative to say about it, I think they have something negative to say probably about everything in their life or everything they see on the internet. You know, I don't think it's a personal thing towards us. I think it's like more personal towards them. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I don't get, because we're just saying really nice things to one another and people are just kind of trying to pick it apart like it's some demented thing or it's something that's just untruthful.
I think that what is like really dumb is that people are saying things like, I would never give a man that much power over me. So we're going to get into the comments in a second. Yeah. But what my least favorite narrative is that it's women. It's just women, obviously, because they're saying I would never give a man. Yeah. And so they're like, I would never give a man that much power over my life. I would never give a man that much power over my life. And it's just like, y'all, that's not what I said.
That's not what I said.
That is not what I said.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm giving this man power over my life. What I am saying is that I am in love with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Is that clear?
Yeah. Yeah.
Clear to you?
Got it.
Okay.
I got it.
So this is like the love of my life. And for me, if he was to cheat on me and betray our trust in the 8 years of work that we put into this relationship, I would not be able to recover from that. It's not that I'm giving him power over my life. It's that when you give yourself vulnerably to love, when you are really, really in love with somebody and you're able to be the epitome of vulnerability with that person. Yeah. You're not giving your power to them. You're giving your power to the love. That's how I feel.
And you shouldn't give that to somebody easily. Like it should take time and development for you to give so much vulnerability to somebody. Like it should take time. It shouldn't be something that you give right away or that you're exposing in the first year of your relationship, whatever it may be. I think that you fully have to trust somebody first, and you have to be transparent with them and make sure that they're reciprocating that transparency, make sure that they're reciprocating the love, the passion of the relationship. You know, all these things should be
more passion,
yeah,
more energy.
What is that? What is that from? That sounds so familiar.
It's like it's like an Instagram, TikTok thing. It's like more passion.
Okay.
More passion.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like you should get to a point in your relationship where you're able to be transparent in that way.
Yes, God.
And then you guys can trust one another enough to be vulnerable and fully communicate towards one another.
For context of what we're talking about, I tell Grant that I would never recover if he was to cheat on me, and that I would just never be the same. And I don't think I'd be, I said literally, wouldn't be able to love somebody else in the same way ever again, because I couldn't recover from being betrayed.
And that feeling is vice
way.
versa, just so we're clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's hella women in the comments saying, you should have never told a man that. I would never tell a man this. I would die before I tell a man that. And I'm never going to tell a man that he has this much power over me, or he's going to cheat on you now that he knows that you have this fear. I'm so sorry that is y'all experience.
Well, are we going to go into the comments specifically? Are we going to
that was a
read
comment.
Some? Oh, okay. That was one. Gotcha.
That's a comment.
Okay. Gotcha.
Is that I said what I said about being vulnerable with you, and their response is, you should never tell a man this. Take this to your grave. You should regret telling your man this. Yeah. And I cannot imagine not being able to tell you my deepest, darkest fears. Why would I be with you? Why would I be with you if I could not tell you my deepest, darkest fears? I'm sorry for whoever's out there that cannot tell their partner their deepest, darkest fears and fear of them being exploited. Yeah. But we've put too much time in this relationship, a whole 8 years. We've put too much time in this relationship for me to walk around scared tell you
walking
things.
On eggshells and shit. And
I'm not doing it.
That should be the goal of the relationship, is to get to a point, if there's any advice we can give from this situation, it's the goal when you get into a relationship, the goal should be to be able to be vulnerable with that person and get to a point where you can trust them 100% and you can share with them your deepest, darkest feelings, and also, be able to just communicate in that way of building the trust and building the loyalty towards one another. And that stuff takes time, it's going to take time, but you need to understand that it's going to take time, and you need to have in the back of your head that this is where I want to get to, is that vulnerable state. And then obviously just don't give it up to anybody. I think that the context that's missing for a lot of these people is that we've been together for almost 10 years. Yeah. And that you're not just some dude that I started dating and started a podcast with, That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what's missing there.
And I even said, some people in the comments, I'm like, this ain't no regular guy. If I was only dating you for 2 years, then I totally understand.
And we were saying the things we're saying.
That'd be crazy.
Insane. We'd be psychopaths.
That'd be crazy. Yeah. If I was in it for 2 years with you and say, I could never recover if you cheat on me. Boy, after 2 years with me, you ain't nobody. Yeah, like, you somebody, peace. Obviously, but it's not that deep.
But it's right? And it took us years to cultivate that. That's the thing. Like, it took us years to get over certain things with one another. It took us years to fully understand how you are and how I am and how I communicate and what I'm lacking, what you're lacking. It takes years to pinpoint those exact things, and then it takes even more time for you to personally work on it. Yeah. Because you're constantly working on yourself for your partner. I think that that's something that you should always be mindful of, is like, I need to continue to better myself for you and for our relationship. Because in as long as both parties in the relationship are putting in that work and putting in that effort, then, that's where you can get to a place where you can feel so like just on cloud nine with one another, like, it took us so long to get to a point where we feel so free in our relationship and we feel so good. And like, I can tell you anything, and I know you can tell me anything. And I know that you trust me, and I know that you trust me with your feelings. And, I don't think you've ever really said, because you said in the beginning, you said, this is the love of my life. Like, I don't remember another time where you were like so open to saying things like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's new. That's a new thing that happened this year, for you to admit, like, he's the love of my life. Like, I can be vulnerable with him. He knows me in so many different ways. He's helped me in so many different ways. Like, we know each other, So that's pretty crazy that you've been able to get to a point where you can open up that much to me.
I don't have a tissue.
Oh.
No, don't.
I'm sorry, babe.
Don't apologize.
What are you doing with it? She's like trying to like boggle all the like tears around her eyes. Just absorb. Absorb.
No, Grant, stop.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
Absorb in the crevice.
No, because
Oh, there he goes.
No.
One drop.
No, because
Let it
it's
out.
gonna mess up my makeup, baby.
Yeah.
We have so much podcasting left to do. No, don't
Sorry,
laugh.
babe.
Move
Sorry,
that
baby.
cat.
Sorry.
I have my little.
Is this what's fucking you up? The cat?
No.
Oh, okay.
This the tears.
Okay.
I have like a little.
Where did it go?
A makeup sponge over there on the couch, right there on the couch by the green. You're gonna have to move that freaking cat, man.
Sorry. You're gonna have to pop off.
Move her ass. Damn. Ugh. God. Ugh. No, don't apologize. You're just so sweet. It makes me sick. Oh my God. Yes, it is new. Okay.
Yeah, it is. It's new, but it's like, it is new, but that just is a testament to what we're saying of it takes time to get to a place where you can be that vulnerable with one another. Like it took time for me to be able to express myself fully because that was something in the beginning of our relationship that I was horrible at. I had like no communication skills. I wasn't able to fully analyze my emotions properly. I wasn't as, it wasn't as easy for me to process things to say to you, and so that took time. And it helped me in a lot of different ways. Like it helped me open up to you, to my friends, to my family. It's helped me in so many different ways,
Enough of you.
Yeah.
Move on.
Okay. Okay.
No,
well,
don't move on. I'm sorry. I'm just emotional.
Well,
You're
I'm
so
just
nice.
I'm just
You're so
addressing,
God.
These are just things these are just things that are coming up as we're talking about that recent post and these comments that people are saying. Like it's putting into perspective of how we feel about one another.
I did not think I was gonna cry. Why am I crying?
And that's the thing too about us doing the podcast together is, I feel like we're learning even more about each other because we're able to sit down and have these conversations in the podcast, and we're also able to get outside perspectives.
Yeah.
Like we're getting so many outside perspectives of like whoever it is, commenters or our friends who are seeing like our podcast and seeing like the way we communicate, and we're getting lots of different perspectives of other relationships and how other people see relationships.
Yeah. I would I love you. You're great.
I love you.
I would agree that the comments that we received were actually very shocking to me because I see being able to open up to somebody like that as the epitome of love.
It's like you should want that.
You should really want that, I think. And it's very interesting also, and I think it speaks to the culture around hurt, right? Everybody, not everybody, but people in the comments are saying they're calling me immature, or that I have no self-esteem, or that I have no identity outside of my man, which isn't true. I have an entire identity outside of my man.
It's not true at all.
But what I find interesting is that they're saying like, oh, grow up. You're being a baby. You have a sad mentality. You're low vibrational. You're a negative person. All these things. And it's like, no, bro, I'm just like.
In tune with myself.
And
the vibes are pure. The vibes are pure.
Pure?
Pure.
Say pure.
Pure. Pure. How do you say it?
Pure.
Pure. Why does it sound so weird? But the vibes here are pure.
I thought you were saying the vibes up here.
No. The vibes, her vibes are pure, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Does it still sound weird?
Pure.
Pure.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're pure. Her vibes are pure. Go on.
Yeah. And just that I would be terrified to not be able to trust you enough to be able to tell you that. And I think it's very interesting. Like you want to be in love with somebody, you want to build a life with somebody that you trust with your life. Oh, that's like the goal for everybody. Oh, I trust my man with my life. I trust my man with my life. I trust my man with my life. Right. But do you not also trust your man with your emotions? Yeah. Because if I'm gonna trust you with my life, I would like to think I could also trust you with my emotions, but it really just goes to show how protective people are over their feelings, because I know a lot of people who would trust their man with their life, but still would not be that open with their man ever.
Yeah.
Emotionally, or vulnerable with them to let them know, hey, if you were to do this, I'd be broken from it. And to me, that's very scary. And I think that as a child, I felt like I had to do a lot of hiding and a lot of performing to make other people happy and to make other people feel important, whatever.
Yeah.
And there's just no performance. I don't know why I'm feeling so emotional. I must be ovulating.
Oh no.
Oh God.
Yeah. What?
Oh my
so
God.
what are you saying? There's no performance.
There's no performance in our relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to pretend at all. I don't have to like keep a wall up or act like
It's pure. Would you
it's
say?
pure.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
I must be ovulating.
No, but that's true.
Oh
Like
my
there really isn't like a performance here. I think that's why I think it's kind of shocking to people when they see us communicate. Is like, is this real or is this not real? And it's like, no, like we have just gotten to a point where we can be so open with one another that it's not staged. Like that's the thing. Like when we sit down to do these podcasts, you know, like most of the time we don't really have like a set thing that we're going to talk about, or we don't have like a lot of like different points that we're going to make. We just go. Yeah. For the most part, we just kind of go, and we're able to just like unload our feelings and unload conversation on one another. You know, like that's what having a podcast and having this platform has done for us, is being able to just get all these things off our chest and to be able to just have just a, you know, stream of conversation. Like we just go in, you know, and so we're not really planning on or knowing exactly what we're going to say. We just say it and it comes off however it comes off. But, you know, nothing is staged. Nothing is planned. Nothing is.
Yeah. Nothing about this is staged.
No.
And I think that one of the things I really value about our relationship is that there's no performance. It's not pretentious. We are who we are. You know, and we understand that we're both humans, and
that's something from the beginning that we've always talked about, though, is like, we don't want to try to portray
Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me?
with our content and stuff. Like, we don't want to try to portray that everything is like perfect.
Yeah, we're not into that. Like, we're happy. Let's talk about the good times.
Yeah, like we don't want to portray the thing that is usually portrayed on social media, where it's just everything's positive, everything is this, everything's that. Like if you go back and watch like our early episodes, or just like, you know, just watch our content throughout, we talk about like real shit that we've gone through. You know what I mean? Like, there's literally been podcasts where we just like argue. Have like a straight up argument. So it's like we show, I think, all of it, and that makes it more genuine, of just, like I said, like this is just like a stream of kind of conversation happening right now. Like it's just me and you, and then there just so happens to be some cameras set up and some lights. So, you know, I think that we always wanted to keep it real and keep it genuine in that way. And that's what we did. And that's why the haters mad.
Haters is mad. And I'm trying not to be one of those girls that cries on camera. Ugh, I hate it. Ugh. Don't laugh at me. I'm just so emotional. I'm just sitting here thinking about you while you talk. And I'm listening to what you're saying, but I'm also just like, what a fucking guy.
What a fucking guy, man. No,
you know?
I mean,
and like, I just couldn't imagine not being fully honest with you. Because you've changed my life in so many ways. And you have fought for me. You have changed my life in so many ways, and you have fought for me and us in our relationship, but you've also fought for me to learn how to love myself, you know, because it was really hard for me in the beginning. And there have been times where you're like, I'm sick of you talking crap about yourself. Stop it. It pisses me off, you know? And to be with somebody who sees how dark you can get, but you still choose to see so much light, that's just really changed my life. And in my like last relationship, I was not easy to be with at all. And I think that you experienced a lot of that as well. And what I didn't realize in my last relationship is that I made it his responsibility to make me happy. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know that I was doing that. And I grew up in a really toxic kind of, not hyper toxic, but I didn't grow up in like the healthiest parental dynamic with the two of them. Mm-hmm. You know, they just didn't mesh. And so it was in my mind that when you're always fighting, that means you're always in love. And like, it's always passion, because you have to like get to this crazy point, and then all the passion happens after that when you fix things. And you, not to shade this guy, he did the best that he could. I was really difficult, but like, you have showed me how to not make my happiness your responsibility. And I also think that for my last relationship, that was one of the things that I just couldn't stop hearing. Is when we broke up, he was like, I'm sorry I couldn't make you happy. Mm-hmm. And we in the beginning of our relationship, you were like, I'm just trying to make you happy. And it really clicked for me that I put so much pressure on you in the beginning for that. And you've taught me so much about how to find my own, like,
oh my babe.
I don't even know if we're going to drop this. I'm so fucking emotional. No, we're going to drop it. It's so good.
It's good shit.
Sorry to that man. I was not great. But for you, like, I don't know. I was hard. Well, I was hard.
I think it was.
And I've been hard. And you've taught me. Oh my God, this is sick.
Well,
I don't want people thinking I'm weak because I'm crying. I'm strong.
That's
Look at that.
You're strong. People know. But I think that the reason why we are the way we are, and the reason I am the way I am, you are the way you are, and the way that all of that clashes together is because I kind of grew up with the complete opposite. So I think we're kind of learning from one another. I grew up, my parents,
crazy.
My parents are still together. They've been together for however many years, 30 years, 32 years,
32 or 33 years, however old your sister is.
Yeah.
Plus 2 years.
Okay. So they've been together for about like 34 years. Mm-hmm. And, I saw my parents kind of bicker at each other every once in a while. And, my dad would annoy my mom, but,
as dads do.
I never saw them like getting big, huge arguments. I think that if they were doing that, they probably hid it from us, so I was never, I guess I just didn't see it like how you just kind of put it. You kind of, thought that was how you did it. You thought that there was all this it was all the fiery, all that fieriness was based on passion. Yeah. And, it's like, oh yeah, you guys argue now, but then you make up, and it's this like romantic thing. And it always feels like bliss because you're constantly on a roller coaster. Yeah. You always feel like the relationship is like, not always low
good.
Low lows, but high highs.
It's very extreme. Yeah. And I was used to extremes. Yeah. And so when we first got together, we didn't have any extremes, and I was confused.
And you're kind of extreme.
I'm extreme.
You're like, I'm extreme. But like your emotions are extreme. Yeah. For sure. For sure. Your your emotions are like that too. They're a roller coaster, but and I'm like very like even keel. Yeah.
Is it kill or keel? I don't know.
I don't know. Even keel. But that's how I am, So I think we've been able to balance each other. Like that's like a huge thing in our relationship too that we've addressed is the balance that we have towards one another and what we bring to the relationship. I bring a calmness, understanding, patience, things like that, and then you bring like, let's go, let's get this, let's make this the best relationship that there's ever been. But I mean, like, but you need that energy. You need
so
both of that
funny.
energy to come together. And I can be like, okay, like we'll figure it out. Let's map it out. Let's figure it out. But we bring a certain energy that just clicks. It just meshes so well. And that's what I think. Like, it seems like after all this time and us being able to evolve into what we've evolved into, it's because of our personalities and the energy that we bring to the table. So I think it's just like, it was just something that just meshed so well.
Yeah, I really had to learn how to value your upbringing because I didn't come from that, and I didn't come from nothing. I came from a lot. Then we went through a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
And then we were fine again. But it wasn't like, it was like you came from a lot like this.
Yeah.
And it used to bother me that you had no adversity it used to bother me. And I was jealous. I used to be very jealous of you.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like that your parents are still together and like, why am I so emotional today? That your parents are still together and you live in the same house that you've always been in since birth. And I like moved around a lot and I always wanted like a home base and I just could never. Yeah. I used to be really envious that you had all those things.
Oh, yeah.
And that when we were at the hardest points in the beginning of our relationship, it was frustrating to me because I was like, you have all these things. You have a family that's been together. You have parents that love each other and they've been together for 30 years, but you don't know how to communicate. You don't know how to build this with me.
Yeah.
And I was also jealous because you used to act like being in a relationship was so hard. And I'm like, what's hard about your life?
Yeah.
What is hard about it? And I remember I used to be like, you're white, you're cis, you're attractive, you're 6 foot tall, you're middle class, you come from a nuclear family. Everybody on your side of the family is together and has been for decades. And so it used to anger me when I felt like you couldn't do things. But we broke all those barriers down to both of us, our respective barriers. And I really learned how to value you for the things that I didn't have. I used to think like, he doesn't have any struggle in his life, so I don't know if we're going to make it. But you not having a lot of like the same struggles that I had is what makes you such a beautiful person. Because I used to think I wanted to be with somebody jaded so that they could understand me. And I never would have thought that somebody who isn't jaded could have ever understood me.
Yeah.
And so I just really appreciate and value you for that and like your patience and your unwavering commitment and support.
Well, that's the thing is like we want to learn from one another and we want to learn from each other's experiences.
Yeah.
And I think over time we've been able to appreciate the things that we've learned. And just the little things that we're able to take from one another. And but it definitely takes some time because it took some time for me to adjust to how you were too. I think it took some time for both of us of how we can fully understand each other and where we're coming from and like the energy that we're bringing and especially us having opposite, and we're both on like opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to it. So it's going to be a lot more complicated for us to fully understand one another. But once you get to a point, once we've got to a point where we can understand each other and we can accept that and appreciate it, that's when it's like, okay, damn, like, if you were how I was, we wouldn't have gotten this far. Or if I was how you were, we wouldn't have been able to get to where we are. So you just start to appreciate those things through time, and it's just been worth it. It's just been worth like putting the time in and putting the effort in and like fully understanding how you are and you putting in the time to fully understand how I am. It took time, but it's been fully worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Maybe we should get back to reading the comments, but this is such a good.
Oh yeah, that was a tangent.
We forgot about that.
But I mean, but
that's okay.
It's all kind of
it's all
wrapped
loops.
in.
It loops into the primary comment, which is, I would never tell a man this, or you would recover, and you've taught me how to love myself in ways that I didn't think that I could, and I still struggle with that type of shit, obviously, but like, I think that I know for a fact. I can't do this. I think that I know for a fact that I needed to be loved by somebody to believe that I could love myself. Yeah. Maybe people want to consider that weak, whatever. You know what I mean? But as a child, people literally would tell me that nobody likes me. Oh, fuck. No, I let it slip. I'm really sorry. I'm making this difficult.
That's okay, baby. It's an emotional one.
Oh, God. It's so fucking... I'm just crying like a pathetic baby. No.
No. It's okay, baby. Like, this is just one of those things that, like, you've experienced things that I haven't experienced, you know? So I'm just trying to hear out your experience, you know?
I like, before I went to school with black kids, I was in school with nothing but white folks.
Yeah.
In an all white neighborhood, in an all white school. The type of white school where it's just like me and my brother, and then like one other guy and his sister, and that was it. And I felt like I could never connect. Like, they liked me, right? But it always never felt, I just never felt fully there. Like I fully belonged, right? Naturally. And I remember I would talk to certain family members and I'd be like, such and such, this person doesn't like me and they don't like me at school and I just don't think anybody likes me. And then they would say like, oh, well, you're likable. You're likable. No, don't worry about it. You're likable. They don't know what they're missing out on. But when I would piss them off, they would turn around and say, that's why you have no friends. That's why nobody likes you.
Yeah. They would use that against you?
A lot. Like, it didn't just happen one time. It was a lot, And it was like, that's why nobody likes you. That's why this. That's why that. That's why this. And I became overly aware of how I am and so I became like hyper aware and hyper analytical of myself. And I think that like I was mean growing up because there were people being mean to me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I knew. And I just realized it recently, when you watch those movies and it's like, how come this kid's a bully? This little motherfucker. What a bastard.
Well, it's always like their parents are
it's because
bullying them
they're getting bullied in another way at home and they're doing it. And I just, I don't know why, but that just connected to me recently as like, oh, that is what happens.
Well, it's kind of like you're defending yourself because you build up
you're taking the power that you don't have at home.
Yeah.
And putting it out on somebody else.
And then it's also like you put a hardened shell over yourself because it's like, nobody's going to treat me like that again. So it's like, I'm ready for your ass. If you want to like try to bully me, like I got something for you. You always have something. You always got a chip on your shoulder. You always have like something ready to go in the chamber, and that's not a good way to live.
Yeah. And I always kind of had a chip on my shoulder where, oh, okay, I'm not likable. I am just not likable as a person, baseline. That's it. And I gotta be honest. I don't think that I would have ever realized how likable or lovable I was unless we got together. And not to say that I wasn't loved in any previous relationships or anything like that.
Friendships.
But you love me and know me in a way that no one else does besides my parents.
Yeah.
And for you to still be here through what I think is a hurricane sometimes.
I'm like one
Just
of those.
makes me feel like maybe I'm not that bad.
I'm like one of those tornado chasers.
Yeah,
with the,
yeah. There it is.
I got the tornado van that
This is
like
a big
digs into the ground. This is a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I just think that the love that I've received from you has really changed me in a lot of ways, because and honestly, over the last year especially, I don't know what it is about this last year for us, but I feel myself leaning more into being a softer type girl, being more relaxed. I mean, I'm always kind of like tightly wound because I wake up at like 2 a.m. and then I'm up till like 10 p.m.
Yeah, it's insane.
But that's just because like I'm very anxious.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is, but I've been able to receive your love this year in a way that I don't think I was able, that I don't think I've been able to receive your love this year more than ever. Yeah. And I think I've always received it, but this year I'm like
allowed yourself
falling into it.
You've kind of given in and you've allowed yourself to receive it because
it feels safe.
That's the thing too, is because, you know, and we talked about this earlier, like you have these extremes, but you have also this side of you that's like, you give so much love. Like you're so like extremely lovable. And like, you know, you also have these extreme times where it's like pretty tough, but but you give so much love and you give so much to people that it's like it's like a no-brainer for me to love you the way I do. Or it's just like all I want to do is like impress you with the love I give you, because you're so impressive in that sense of like you give so much to people and you give so much to basically everything you're a part of, whether it's work, whether it's, you know, a project, or whether it's to your parents, whether it's to your friends. Like you give so much to it and you're constantly thinking of other people. And I think that that's something that you don't see in yourself, or it's something that you don't credit yourself for, because you think that you're like a problem or something. You constantly are picturing yourself as like the problem, or that you're a burden to people, but you take away so many people's burdens by the way you are, and you give so much to people, and you're so Asia, you know what I mean? Like it's hard to describe, but it's just like, you know, you're very intense, but you love intense too. You put an intense amount of love, an intense amount of selflessness into people. And, you know, that's just something that I've received, and I've been able to grow in so many ways from it, you know, and I've been able to blossom into like a whole new person, I would say, like at this point in our relationship, like I am just like a completely different person because I've been able to grow from you and from who you are. And so, you know, you act like you're not giving to people. You act like you're just taking from people. But seriously, like you give so much that you're allowed to take if you want to take. Or I will give you everything you need because you give me everything I need and more. I love you.
My makeup is ruined.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Mm-hmm. But that's true, you know, that's so true. Everybody who knows you, like they know that about you, that you give so much to them and you give so much to everybody, and you feel so much, you know. Yeah. That's why you're constantly constantly crying. You're constantly worried about like what people think of you and how they perceive you, because you're like, I just want you to like me because I really like you and I'm going to give a lot to this. So I want you to give a lot too, you know? And that can frustrate you too. If like you feel like somebody's not giving the amount of effort that you're giving, like you're kind of like, I'm done with you, you know? But it's like, but it's not like you're just taking from them. You're giving more. And you're like, I just want you to give at least 50% of what I'm giving and I'll be cool. you know.
I really it's really nice that you know me so well. I love you.
I love you.
Stop.
I love you.
No more eye contact from you, girl.
Cool. That was
47
great.
minutes. We only read one comment, guys. I've been crying.
Well, I think that one comment basically summed up everybody else's comments. They were basically the same as that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think we basically addressed all the comments in that conversation.
Yeah.
And
I mean, there were a lot of people who were like, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to kind of wrap it up in a way of like giving the advice that we give at the end.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to mention that people cheating PTSD comments.
Yeah.
Real quick. Okay. We're not going to go in.
Yeah, go ahead.
But, you know, there were a lot of people that were agreeing with the video, and they were saying, yes, cheating gives you PTSD because you really have a difficult time trusting somebody ever again.
Yeah.
And, you know, then there's the
sense.
other people.
And I mean,
yes, it makes sense.
I feel like the
the
majority of the haters have probably been cheated on.
I think so, because everybody was like, trust me, you would recover.
Yeah.
But almost everybody in the comments was like, this is either my biggest fear. Mm-hmm. I've been through this and didn't recover. I've been through this and we're still together and I haven't recovered.
Yeah.
And then there was the, you would recover. Mm-hmm. Trust me. You know, that's what the mixed bag was. And there was one woman, and she said that her husband cheated in like the first few months of them being married or something. And she took him back and everything is great now. And some girl was like, we're taking back cheaters now? That's stupid. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like anybody should be accosted for the decisions that they make in their relationship. Like, if you cheated, I probably wouldn't tell nobody. I'd take that to the grave. Yeah. But, seriously. Yeah, I would, because I wouldn't want our content to revolve around that. Mm-hmm. But if you cheated and I took you back, I'm not finna explain to nobody why I took you back. Mm-hmm. That's not finna happen. But
I think we kind of went into that in the last episode of what we would do if we cheated, or like how we would feel about it. So yeah, you can go watch that if you want to know how we feel about it. We go into that, like how we feel about if one another cheated, and what we would do if we would end the relationship or if we wouldn't.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, I stand by what I said. I stand on that because I stand on business, but I stand on what I said, where it's like I wouldn't recover because you have changed so many things for me. Yeah. Within me. And like your love and your patience and your presence have been like healing for me in ways I never thought that I would like be healed. Yeah. So when I say that if you were to cheat on me, I wouldn't recover, I mean it. I could be with somebody else, sure, but I would never, ever be the same. Because it's you. You.
Yeah.
And I love you.
I love you, my babe. Okay. So, oh, shit.
Jeez, that sounded painful.
Had a hiccup. So we're going to give advice now.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the last little tidbit.
Yeah, and on that note, we are going to move into our advice segment. We're not doing a listener letter today because we talked about comments. So we're going to move into our advice segment. So advice on how to hang out forever. Do you want to start?
Yeah, I think that, do I say it to the camera?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess like based on what we've talked about, if there's any advice I can give you, it's to, if you go into a relationship and your goal is to get to a point where you can be vulnerable with your partner, that should be the goal, you know, to get to a point where you can be fully vulnerable, you can be fully yourself, you can be transparent with your partner. That's going to be the best case scenario of your relationship, because so much comes with that. So much comes with you being able to trust your partner in that type of way. And, you know, that's where we've gotten to a point. You know, it takes time, though. You have to remember that as well. It should just be something that should be the catalyst of you moving forward in your relationship, is getting to a comfortability, a healthy comfortability, you know. And that's somewhere where I personally feel like me and Asia are at now. And it's just such an amazing feeling. Like, it just feels like I can trust her with everything. Um, I can, have my guard down around her. I don't have to constantly be worrying and stressed out about what she's got going on or whatever it may be. Like, we are so far past that because I trust her so much. I trust her with my life. And then vice versa of that feeling, like I would do anything for her. She's the most important thing and person in my life, and I would do anything for her, and I am just so happy to be at a point where I can be vulnerable with her and I can be fully myself around her and trust that it's safe with her. So yeah, I feel like that should just always be in the back of your head when you're starting in a relationship, is like, okay, like now we're here, but maybe in the future, once we've worked on things, once we've like communicated fully, once we just naturally progress, I can just fully be myself around this person. I don't have to walk on eggshells, or I don't have to be fearful of her using something against me, or just being able to have that full vulnerability with your partner. That should be the goal.
I agree. And my advice on how to hang out forever would also be in that similar vein, but it's trust yourself enough to trust somebody else. I think that that's mine, because I had to get to a point to where I could trust myself to trust Grant. And I had to believe first that I was making a great decision by trusting him. And that would be essentially my advice, because if you don't trust yourself to trust your partner, then you won't be able to get to that level of vulnerable. And also be discerning about who you want to be vulnerable with. If you just started dating a guy, or if you have any reservations about his character, then maybe don't be as vulnerable with that guy, or try to like wait it out and see what it is. But one thing for sure is, even when I was scared to trust Grant with my ultimate vulnerable self, I never doubted his character. I always knew he was a good guy. This is a great man. I had to trust myself to believe that this wasn't just smoke and mirrors. So if you're in a relationship and you really believe that this is a good guy, I hope he is. Or she. I guess I could talk to everybody. I'm talking to the women, but yeah. I hope that whoever you're with, you do not have any doubt of their character, because that'll make your journey to being vulnerable with them a little bit easier. Mine was difficult for me personally based on my upbringing, but and how I felt about myself. But I trusted myself to trust him. And
that's real.
That's really all I can say. So
there's the advice for you guys. Take it how you will.
Hopefully it was helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks so much for tuning into yet another episode of Hanging Out Forever podcast. And I was crying the whole time, but don't be thinking I'd just be crying in these streets.
We'll cut it out. We'll cut the tears out.
There's no way.
I know there's definitely going to be some tears.
The tears are
we'll
there.
Cut to a shot of you, and it's just going to be like super watery all of a sudden.
Yeah, people are like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It's a continuity error. But thanks y'all so much for watching another episode of Hanging Out Forever podcast. We really hope that this was great and enlightening and helpful. And if you want additional context, go ahead and hit up our TikTok channel. And the post is like, I would never recover if you cheated. It has like 300,000 views, something like that. It's doing pretty good. And go ahead and dive on in. We hope that you're enjoying all of our other podcasts, and that our journey is helping you on your relationship journey.
Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow us on all of our platforms, Hanging Out Forever. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Bye.
Peace.
That was great. Can I have a hug?
Yeah. My babe forever.
How come you never cry? I'm starting to think you don't
don't care.